Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Brother Brett. Today is Wednesday, and I believe the date is May the 13th, something like that. But anyway, I just wanted to share some encouragement to you, and I was just kind of thinking through what I wanted to talk about this week. And so anyway, Dexter and I were just out for a walk, and I wanted to share some things, some thoughts. This past week, I had an opportunity to have a conversation with a coworker, and the coworker asked me the question if sometimes if sin, the results of sin, were the reasons why people were sick or dying and struggling with those kinds of things. And so we had a long discussion that kind of talked about the idea of the sin-fallen world that we live in. Obviously, all sickness and disease and even death is a result that we live in a sin-fallen world, and so we kind of talked about that. But I also reminded her that years ago, whenever I used to think about that, every time that I would kind of mess up in my life, I would kind of get to the thing, well, God's mad at me, or I've done something. And I remember whenever I came to the realization that no matter what I do, no matter what I say, how good I am, how bad I am, doesn't dictate God's love for me. And there's so many different scriptures that teach us about that, but it's really easy for us to begin to think, well, when I'm doing really, really well, God loves me and he accepts me. But when I'm not doing so well, he's angry with me, or he can't use me for certain things. And so the other day I was walking in our neighborhood, and I'm going to switch you around here because I want you to see this. This is just an area that's real close to our house. And as of a week ago, hey Dexter, say hello. As about a week ago, this property was completely wooded up. It had washes where the rain and stuff had happened. And so they're about to build some new houses in our subdivision. And so this land with that, which by the way, if the keys are in it, I'm going to drive it here in a little bit, because men like to drive tractors. It's what we do. But anyway, this property, even though it looks like it's completely level, it still has some areas that aren't completely perfect, and there are still tread marks and different things. And so even though now it is going to be where it's usable, where the contractor will be able to come in and build houses and to put foundations, all of those kinds of things, I got to thinking about it. Yeah, it looks a whole lot better than it did last week. But to be honest, it's still not perfect. But the key that I came is it's usable. And the amazing thing is we as God's children, even though we're not perfect and all those kinds of things, the Bible tells us that in spite of all those things, God still loves us. And we as the church are still his plan. The work that he wants to do spiritually on this earth is simply going to be done through imperfect people within the church. And so I just want to remind you today, maybe you're in a valley, maybe you're on the top of a mountain, maybe spiritually you're the very best that you've ever been, or maybe you're just kind of struggling today. And maybe sometimes you get that idea because you listen to the lies of the devil, which is so easy to do, that God can never use me. I'm not perfect, and unless I get everything the way that it needs to be, he'll never use me. Let me remind you, King David was a murderer. King David was one who just, his life, to be honest, was a mess, and yet he was described as one after God's own heart, and God used him mightily. And so I want to remind you today, no matter where you are, that God has never loved you any more or any less than he does right now. And so submit to him, allow him to use you. Hope you're having a great day. I'm excited. Sunday we get to gather together as a church family, and but don't think you can't come up and kiss me right on the mouth, okay? I'm not going to allow it. Anyway, love you.